We're back with the secret book of Enoch. Here we go. Let's go to chapter 11. Those men took me and led me up onto the fourth heaven and showed me all the successive goings, all the rays of the light of sun and moon. And I measured their goings and compared their light, saw that the sun's light is greater than the moon's, its circle and the wheels on which it goes always, like a wind going past with very marvelous speed. Day and night it has no rest. Its passage and return are accompanied by 4 great stars, and each star has under it 1,000 stars to the right of the sun's wheel, and by 4 to the left, each having under it 1,000 stars, altogether 8,000, issuing with the sun continually. And by day 15 myriads of angels attend to it, and by night 1,000. And 6 winged ones issue with the angels before the sun's wheel into the fiery flames, and 100 angels kindle the sun and set it alight. Wasn't that awesome? Okay. And I looked and saw other flying elements of the sun, whose names are phoenixes, chalkidry, marvelous and wonderful, with feet and tails in the form of a lion and a crocodile's head. Their appearance is empurpled. Like the rainbow, their size is 900 measures. Their wings are like those of angels, each has 12, and they attend and accompany the sun, bearing heat and dew, as it is ordered them from God. Thus the sun revolves and goes and rises under the heaven, and its course goes under the earth with the light of its rays incessantly. Those men bore me away to the east, and they placed me at the sun's gates, where the sun goes forth according to the regulation of the seasons, and the circuit of the months of the whole year, and the number of the hours, day and night. And I saw 6 great gates open, each gate having 61 stadia, and 1/4 of 1 stadium. And I measured them truly, and understood their size to be so much, through which the sun goes forth, and goes to the west, and it is made even, and rises throughout all the months, and then it turns back again from the 6 gates according to the succession of the seasons. Thus the period of the whole year is finished after the returns of the 4 seasons. And again those men led me away to the western parts, and showed me 6 great gates, open corresponding to the eastern gates, opposite to where the sun sets, according to the number of the days, 365 and 1/4. Thus again it goes down to the western gates, and draws away its light, the greatness of its brightness under the earth, for since the crown of its shining is in heaven with the Lord, and guarded by 400 angels, while the sun goes round on wheel under the sun, or under the earth, and stands 7 great hours in night, and spends half of its course under the earth. When it comes to the eastern approach, in the 8th hour of the night, it brings its lights and the crown of shining, and the sun flames forth more than fire. Wow. Then the elements of the sun, called phoenixes and chalkidry, break into song there. For every bird flutters with its wings, rejoicing at the giver of light, and they broke into song at the command of the Lord. The giver of light comes to give brightness to the whole world, and the morning guard takes shape, which is the rays of the sun, and the sun of the earth goes out and receives its brightness to light up the whole face of the earth. And they showed me this calculation of the sun's going, and the gates which it enters. These are the great gates of the computation of the hours of the year. For this reason the sun is a great creation, whose circuit lasts 28 years, and begins again from the beginning. Those men showed me the other course, that of the moon, 12 great gates crowned from west to east, by which the moon goes in and out of the customary times. It goes in at the first gate to the western places of the sun, by the first gates with 31 days exactly, by the second gates with 31 days exactly, by the third with 30 days exactly, by the fourth with 30 days exactly, by the 5th with 31 days exactly, by the 6th with 31 days exactly, and by the 7th with 30 days exactly, by the 8th with 31 days perfectly, by the 9th with 31 days exactly, by the 10th with 30 days perfectly, by the 11th with 31 days exactly, and by the 12th with 28 days exactly. And it goes through the western gates in the order and number of the eastern, and accomplishes the 365 and a quarter days of the solar year, while the lunar year has 354, and there are wanting to it 12 days of the solar circle, which are the lunar epochs of the whole year. This too, the great circle contains 532 years. The quarter of a day is omitted for 3 years. The fourth fulfills it exactly. Therefore they are taken outside of heaven for 3 years, and are not added to the number of days, because they change the time of the years to 2 new months, according or towards completion, to 2 others towards diminution. And when the western gates are finished, it returns and goes to the eastern, to the lights, and goes thus day and night about the heavenly circles, lower than all circles, swifter than the heavenly winds, and spirits and elements and angels flying. Each angel has 6 wings. It has a 7-fold course and 19 years. In the midst of the heavens I saw armed soldiers serving the Lord, with tympana and organs, and it with incessant voice, with sweet and incessant voice, and various singing, which it is impossible to describe, and which astonishes every mind. So wonderful and marvelous is the singing of those angels, and I was delighted listening to it. The men took me on to the 5th heaven, and placed me, and there I saw many and countless soldiers, called Grigori, of human appearance, and their size was greater than that of great giants, and their face withered, and the silence of their mouths perpetual. And there was no service on the 5th heaven. And I said to the men who were with me, Wherefore are these very withered, and their faces melancholy, and their mouths are silent, and wherefore is there no service on this heaven? And they said to me, These are the Grigori, who with their prince Satanael rejected the Lord of light, and after them are those who are held in great darkness on the 2nd heaven. And 3 of them went down onto the earth from the Lord's throne to the place Hermon, and broke through their vows on the shoulder of the hill Hermon, and saw the daughters of men how good they are, and took themselves wives, and befouled the earth with their deeds, who in all times of their age made lawlessness and mixing, and giants are born, and marvelous big men, and great enmity. Therefore God judged them with great judgment, and they weep for their brethren, and they will be punished on the Lord's great day. And I said to the Grigori, I saw your brethren, and their works, and their great torments, and I prayed for them. But the Lord has condemned them to be under earth, till heaven and earth shall end forever. And I said, Wherefore do you wait, brethren, and do not serve before the Lord's face, and have not put your services before the Lord's face, lest you anger your Lord utterly? And they listened to my admonition, and they spoke to the 4 ranks in heaven. And look, as I stood with those 2 men, 4 trumpets trumpeted together with great voice, and the Grigori broke into song with one voice, and their voice went up before the Lord pitifully and affectingly. Interesting. Thence those men took me and bore me up onto the 6th heaven, and there I saw 7 bands of angels, very bright, very glorious, and their faces shining more than the sun shining, glistening, and there is no difference in their faces, or behavior, or manner of dress, and these make the orders, and learn the goings of the stars, and the alteration of the moon, and revolution of the sun, and the good government of the world. And when they see evil doing, they make commandments and instruction, and sweet and loud singing, and all songs of praise. These are the archangels, who are above angels, measure all life in heaven and on the earth, and the angels who are appointed over seasons and years, the angels who are over rivers and sea, and who are over the fruits of the earth, and the angels who are over every grass, giving food to all, to every living thing, and the angels who write all the souls of men, and all their deeds and their lives before the Lord's face. In their midst are 6 phoenixes, and 6 cherubim, and 6 six-winged ones continually, with one voice, singing one voice. And it is not possible to describe their singing, and they rejoice before the Lord at his footstool. Praise Yah. And those 2 men lifted me up thence unto the 7th heaven, and I saw there a very great light, and fiery troops of great archangels, incorporeal forces, and dominions, orders, and governments, cherubim and seraphim, thrones, and many-eyed ones, 9 regiments, the ionizations of light. And I became afraid, and I began to tremble with great terror. And those men took me and led me after them, and said to me, Have courage, Enoch, do not fear. And they showed me the Lord from afar, sitting on his very high throne. For what is there on the 10th heaven, since the Lord dwells here? On the 10th heaven is God, the Hebrew tongue. He is called Arava. And all the heavenly troops would come and stand on the 10 steps according to their rank, and would bow down to the Lord, and would again go to their places in joy, in happiness, singing songs in the boundless light, with small and tender voices, gloriously serving him. And the cherubim and the seraphim, standing about the throne, the 6-winged and many-eyed ones, do not depart, standing before the Lord's face and doing his will, and cover his whole throne, singing with gentle voice before the Lord's face, Holy, 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 Lord, ruler of Sabbath. Heavens and earth are full of thy glory. When I saw all these things, those men said to me, Enoch, thus far is it commanded us to journey with you. And those men went away from me, and thereupon I saw them not. And I remained alone at the end of the 7th heaven, and became afraid, and fell on my face, and I said to myself, Woe is me! What has befallen me? And the Lord sent one of his glorious ones, the archangel Gabriel, and he said to me, Have courage, Enoch, do not fear. Arise before the Lord's face, and to eternity. Arise, come with me. And I answered him, and I said in myself, My Lord, my soul is departed from me, from terror and trembling. And I called to the men who led me up to this place. On them I relied, and it is with them I go before the Lord's face. And Gabriel caught me up, as a leaf caught up by the wind, and he placed me before the Lord's face. And I saw the 8th heaven, which is called in the Hebrew tongue, Muzalah, changer of the seasons of drought and of wet, and of the 12 signs of the zodiac, which are above the 7th heaven. And I saw the 9th heaven, which is called in Hebrew, Kuchavim, where are the heavenly homes of the 12 signs of the zodiac. On the 10th heaven, Aravath, I saw the appearance of the Lord's face, like iron made to glow in fire, and brought out emitting sparks, and it burns. Thus I saw the Lord's face, but the Lord's face is ineffable, marvelous, very awful, very, very terrible. And who am I to tell you of the Lord's unspeakable being, and of his very wonderful face? And I cannot tell the quantity of his many instructions and various voices. The Lord's throne is very great, and not made with hands, nor the quantity of those standing around him, troops of cherubim and seraphim, nor their incessant singing, nor his immutable beauty. And who shall tell of his ineffable greatness, of his glory? And I fell prone and bowed down to the Lord. And the Lord with his lips said to me, Have courage, Enoch. Do not fear. Arise and stand before my face into eternity. And the archistratege, Michael, lifted me up and led me to before the Lord's face. And the Lord said to his servants, tempting them, Let Enoch stand before my face into eternity. And the glorious ones bowed down to the Lord and said, Let Enoch go according to your word. And the Lord said to Michael, Go and take Enoch from out of his earthly garments, and anoint him with my sweet ointment, and put him into the garments of my glory. And Michael did this. And as the Lord told him, he anointed me and dressed me. And the appearance of that ointment is more than the great light, and his ointment is like sweet dew, and its smell is mild, shining like the sun's rays. And I looked at myself, and was like one of his glorious ones. And the Lord summoned one of his archangels by name Pravuel, whose knowledge was quicker in wisdom than the other archangels, who wrote all the deeds of the Lord. And the Lord said to Pravuel, Bring out the books from my storehouses, and the reed of quick writing. Give it to Enoch, and deliver him the choice and comforting books out of your hand. And he was telling me all the works of heaven, earth and sea, and all the elements, their passages and their goings, and the thunderings of the thunders, the sun and the moon, the goings and the changes of the stars, the seasons, the years, the days, and the hours, the risings of the wind, the numbers of the angels, the formation of their songs, and all human things, the tongue of every human song in life, the commandments, instructions, sweet voice singings, and all things that is fitting to learn. And Pravuel told me, All the things that I have told you, we have written, sit and write, all the souls of mankind, however many of them are born, and the places prepared for them to eternity. For all souls are prepared to eternity before the formation of the world. And all, double 30 days and 30 nights, I wrote all the things exactly, and wrote 366 books. And the Lord summoned me and said to me, Enoch, sit down on my left with Gabriel. And I bowed down to the Lord, and the Lord spoke to me, Enoch, beloved, all you see, all things that are standing finished, I tell to you, even before the very beginning, all that I created from non-being, and visible things from invisible. Hear, Enoch, and take in these my words. For not to my angels have I told my secret, and I have not told them their rise, nor my endless realm, nor have they understood my creating, which I tell to you today. For before all things were visible, I alone used to go about in the invisible things, like the sun from east to west, and from west to east. But even the sun has peace in itself, while I found no peace, because I was creating all things, and I conceived the thought of placing foundations and of creating visible creation.